Who is Vena?
Vina, I would say, is a bubbly, friendly person who is always on the lookout for others' well-being. That's always who I am. I have always been a good daughter to my parents and a good sister to my siblings. I like to think that I am a person who is keen on always trying to help others develop themselves through their profession or whatever way I can. And I want that to be my legacy. I am a nurse by profession, and so basically the caring part of the nursing profession is what has drawn me to this kind of role. I'm always also someone who always wants others to progress, and through coaching and mentoring, which I usually do with them, I help others and support them that way. This role is not only for my family and my friends, but also to my colleagues.
Vena, how was your childhood?
I grew up in a Christian home. My dad is a church minister, basically a pastor, and he worked even up until last year when he was already 86. My mom used to be a teacher. She's retired now, but she is also a dedicated pastor's wife. So when I was small, I used to join activities in church like church choir. I taught in Sunday school. I volunteered in community activities. So I had a good childhood. I went to a Christian university as well. And I'm really happy that my parents sent me there. It's one of the schools where good values, Christian values, was always emphasized. Our parents have always said to us, we cannot leave you any worldly goods. What we can give you is a good education to prepare you for your future. And I'm really happy that I'm very grateful that that's what they have actually given us throughout all these years.
You said you grew up in a Christian home. So what does actually being Christian mean to you?
Being a Christian means doing things that could inspire others and help others. Because I do believe that religion is important, but it's not about what religion you are in. As a Christian, I understand and follow what is being taught in the Bible, what is being said in church, and I feel that that's how I should live a Christian life.
How was the experience of moving to a new country to start fresh?
Coming to England or coming to a new country was tough, but it was also quite exciting. I think having come to a country where English is the main language, or people speak English all the time, my transition wasn't that difficult. It was really useful. So what I needed to do was really learn more about what my job role was and learn about the culture, learn how to blend with others in this country. And I think the most challenging part was the adulting part. I came over here after having worked 5 years after graduation, and I was never really on my own back then. So I had to learn a lot of things. So the challenges, I understand that the challenges came with it, and I had taken that graciously.
Did you always feel welcome to the country?
I would say from my personal experience, yes, I have always been welcomed. Maybe my personality as well. I do sometimes make myself more welcome in the ways that I do. As I've said earlier on, I'm friendly, so maybe that has helped me feel welcome as well in different communities. London is very cultural. I came in 2001 when there were so many immigrants who also came to this country. Filipinos were only just arriving at that time, or between 1999 to 2001. So it was kind of good for me that there were Filipinos that I could see, that I could also call on if I need to. But I've never really felt isolated being an immigrant in this country, even when I first came here.
And what made you decide to leave home and come to the UK and to immigrate?
It was, the motivation was really more financial stability. When you finish nursing in the Philippines, it was really more on being able to help stabilize finances within your family, because it's not easy to be in a family with 4 children who were all going to university. So I said to myself, if this is the way I can help my parents, then I will do that. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that I was pressured to do it. I do love nursing. I love my profession. If I didn't do nursing, I wouldn't have known what to do.
How do you cope with feeling homesick and being away from your family and your loved ones?
The feeling of homesickness was actually just during the first 6 months, I would say. I am probably a person who can easily adjust and adapt to a new place, a new culture. And it was also helpful that I lived in an accommodation initially where all of us in the building were working in a similar place in 3 different hospitals, but culturally we were bonded. So I wasn't feeling as homesick as I thought I would. Back when I was in university, I lived in the dormitory. So it wasn't like it was the first time I've been away. I have been away before. It was in the dormitory. My parents were closer, not like 1,000 miles away, but it's not really as difficult as I thought it would. Back in 2020, during the first wave of COVID-19 here in the UK, March 2020, I experienced COVID quite badly. So during the first week when the lockdown was declared, I was at home. I was isolating because I had symptoms of COVID-19. However, the medical professionals did not recognize that as COVID-19. They were saying that I wasn't short of breath enough to come to hospital. They said, if you are taking medications, just continue taking them. So I had my inhaler, I had my paracetamol, and that went on for 10 days. However, on the 11th day, my respiratory rate was going up even at rest. So even if I cannot say it, that I'm short of breath, people can tell that I was actually short of breath. And that's when my partner brought me into hospital. So in hospital, immediately within 15 minutes of being in the A&E, I was told that I had COVID-19 and that I was going to be treated with antibiotics and would go home. 3 days, I'll be out of hospital. Unfortunately, during those 3 days, I deteriorated more and more every day, to the point where the doctors had actually told me that my only way to potentially survive is to be intubated. And I said to myself, if I'm going to be intubated, I'm not going to wake up anymore. I may not wake up anymore. So I said initially that I'm not going to consent for intubation. On the 6th day in hospital, the doctors came to me and said, if you don't get intubated, you will just fall and die in a few hours. They said your only option now, whether you survive or not, is intubation. And that's when I said, okay, if that's my option, I will give in to that. But during that time, on what I now call my deathbed, I was thinking of my loved ones. What am I gonna do with my 2 mortgages? Financially, I wasn't stable enough to leave my parents and my siblings a sufficient amount of money. I was worrying about all these things on my deathbed, and I was intubated, and that was it. So I woke up after a week and I survived the whole ordeal, but that left me as well with confidence that was not what I used to have. My confidence level was so low. I suffered from depression. I suffered from post-traumatic stress syndrome, and I just wasn't myself. It was a different Vena. And during those 10 months where I was at home trying to recover from my experience, I realized that if I had any advice to myself, it would be to prioritize my happiness, because I realized that before COVID had happened, I was prioritizing my career. I was looking at what I could achieve over the next 5 to 10 years. And that really changed my mindset after COVID.
What made you realize like you need to put yourself first?
When I was dying, I thought to myself, there were so many things I didn't manage to achieve that would make me happy. Yes, I have come to this country, that had made me happy, but also I want to see the world out there. I love traveling. And I was actually holding back on all those things because what I wanted to do at that time was to achieve a higher career progression. Before I had COVID, I was already prepared to take on a bigger leadership role. And after COVID, as I've said earlier on, my confidence was down the boots. I could not pick myself up and say, I'm ready to do this job. I was left really, really disappointed with myself. My memory was playing up. There were so many things, there were so many factors that I said to myself, why am I focusing on career when I could focus on my happiness and things that make me happy, like my family, my friends, traveling. There's so many things that could make me happy, and it wasn't career progression. I just realized that.
And how does Atomy tie into all of that, like your journey?
With Atomy, I'm very proud to say and pleased to say I've met so many people that had made me realize and made me think about the meaning of sharing, the meaning of progressing with others, progressing with a team, and looking at financial stability in a different way. All this time, I thought financial stability could be found in a secure job, which is what I did say earlier. And I realized it wasn't that. The vision of Atomy is so big, and the mindset of being an Atomian is very powerful. It's very different. I can't explain it, but with the Atomy motto of cherishing the spirit, creating the vision, serving in humility, following the faith, all of that I could relate to, and that's really what keeps me going with Atomy.
And why did you start the Atomy business?
I joined Atomy as a consumer, and I never really thought that I would go into the Atomy business. I had an experience with network marketing which didn't work out. I'm not going to say that I have a negative experience or that I've been traumatized with my previous experience, but it didn't attract me after that. After that experience where it didn't work, it didn't attract me anymore. I went into the Atomy business initially because I feel that I could help others through my sharing, because I've experienced very positive things with Atomy. First initially was the skincare, and then the supplements. So I thought to myself, if I can share this with others and others will be interested, why can't I then do the business? Not really thinking to do it as what I'm doing now. However, as I went on, I realized, and as I got more inspired, I realized that Atomy may be my road to financial stability. I have always said that having a secure job, like I am currently a nurse in the NHS and my post is secured, but job security is not the same as financial stability. And that's why I am very much keen to do the Atomy business full-time.
Have you gone through any difficulties while trying to do the Atomy business?
Yes, I have. A lot of times. I think one of the things that would really stick to me is rejection. There are people who would be honest and say to you, I'm very skeptical about this. And there are people who would say, yes, I'll join, but actually they're not as committed. And that gives me that disappointment, because sometimes I say to myself, why can't others see my vision? I can see how good Atomy is, but I get frustrated when others can't see that. So that's probably one of the challenges I go through when I meet people who reject what I have to share.
Do you consider yourself a good leader?
I am proud to say that I do believe I am a good leader. I don't believe that leadership is inborn. I believe that you could be born to a family where genetically most of the people in your family are leaders, but you have to work hard to become one. You have to earn the respect of others to become a leader. And for me, my skills and my skills in mentoring, coaching, and supporting others is what has helped me become the leader I am now. I am proud to say that for all these years that I have been in this country, I have been given leadership roles in different areas. And I'm not saying that it was just opportunity. I believe that I worked hard to become a leader. And I know that there are individuals who look up to me and make me their inspiration. They want to become like me and they want to emulate what I have achieved over the years.
Becoming a leader is not easy. It's like a journey. So what did you struggle the most with being put in that position?
You're right, it's not easy. It is a difficult journey, and every leadership role is different. I have been a clinical leader as I used to be a ward manager, so that was very clinical. And there were challenges that came with it, like there were things that you would only experience at that time, and you learn from those experiences. And I think the hardest part is there are really difficult things that you learn the hard way. It wasn't easy. It's not textbook. It's not found. There are things that you can't find in a textbook when you say, to become a good leader, this is what I do. It's not like that. You learn as you go along. And I think that's what's valuable in leadership, that you learn things as you get on.
If you could give yourself an advice in 2020, what would it be?
If I was given a chance to go back into 2020 and give myself an advice, it would be to chase your happiness, not necessarily to achieve your dreams and that would make you happy, because I realized it wasn't that. I think maturity as well will come with that, because I would say from 2020, it's now been 4 years, we're now in 2024, and the COVID experience has changed my mindset so much. And now I look back, I would say I would really want to prioritize myself and what I find most satisfying now. It's really more about sharing and being able to support others in a different way. I would say I have supported others. I have been a nurse educator now for 8 years, and I would love to say I have supported my learners quite well. But in Atomy, I support even those who are not trying to achieve academic excellence. It's not only about the academe. I'm supporting others to also achieve their dreams of financial success. As we say in Atomy, there are 3 things that we become rich when we join. We become money rich, but that's not the main thing. It's really when we get friend rich and we get time rich and we become money rich. But the most that I would really want to continue doing is to have more friends, to be friend rich, and to have more time to travel and do the things that I love.